Hello, everyone. This video I'm going to call Be What You Desire, or be or become what it is that you want. And the reason that I'm coming on to share this is because I just was with a client and she was sharing how in the healing process of breath and being in the body and the somatic work that we do together, that she was feeling very peaceful, that she was surprised how when she brought breath and presence, she was able to really come home to ourself, which is herself, which is a lot of the work that we're doing together. And there was this sense of real peace that she breathed into. And then she was aware of other sensations as some energy was leaving. But by just staying the course, there was this lightness after the practice and after the transmission. And then as we started to talk, she started to bring in this situation in her life and story of a relationship that's very toxic and challenging. And I watched her energy go from this peaceful presence to literally diminishing as she started to separate from this wholeness of who she is. And then the more that she got into the details of this story and this specific person in her life that is so toxic and narcissistic, and then there was even this like darkness in her aura. It was like from light to dark. And then her question became, so if I'm in this peaceful state or space, how am I supposed to deal with toxic people like that in my life? And I was just like, this is so good, because it was just this dichotomy or this duality, like so blatant in my face. So I asked for her to share more about this person and share more about like some of the details to just really let her get into it. And then it was fascinating because she said that this is a pattern in her life that comes up very often, of these dominant personalities that are abusive, these bold behaviors of people wanting to control her, control the conversation. And then she just still kept using this word toxic. So as I started to ask certain questions, it was great because she said, well, I see the behaviors, I see the patterns, I see how irresponsible they are, I see their ignorance. What were some of the other things she said? I see how negative they are. I see how manipulating they are, and they're trying to be with me. So it was all things like that. And that's where I was like, yes, exactly. What you're seeing through the body's eyes. And when we see through only the body's eyes, we keep reacting to the person. We keep reacting to the situation that's unjust and wanting to be right. And all of that's great on one level, but that's never going to assist you in healing. And so I said, so as long as you keep seeing the behavior, as long as you keep seeing and feeling the toxicity only and wanting to know how to combat it or deal with it or fix it, you're resisting what's here within you that is on some level attracting the pattern into your life for you to meet the energy within yourself that the pattern is assisting you in healing. And so I'll share with you, life is always reflecting to us how we view ourselves. Life is reflecting to us our beliefs. And yeah, sometimes it's in the beauty and it's in those beautiful, loving relationships. And simultaneously, because we are holding things very often that are not loving and beautiful, life is also going to show us that light, which you could call it shadow work or just deeper inner child work. Doesn't matter what it's called. It's assisting you, even if there's just a small part of you that is still believing that. If you are reacting, if you are triggered, it's inviting you to meet yourself here. You can't change the outside. You can't change the toxic person. You definitely cannot change a narcissist. But what if it's not your job to? What if the way this beautiful universe works in the law of the divine and how oneness and unity, which is the divine truth of every situation, what if the way it works is providing a new lens? And the way that you don't repeat the pattern is when that person is there, when that situation arises, you breathe deeply into your body to ask, what's here for me to feel? What is this bringing up in me that I haven't met? We can see through the body's eyes, and as I asked her, are you seeing the Christ? Are you seeing the love? Are you seeing the eternal light and the innocence that's who they really are? Because the truth of the matter is, anyone that is showing you anything other than love is in pain, in alignment with their pain body. And by only seeing the behavior and the pain and reacting, you keep both of you in prison. And that's a choice. There's no right or wrong. But this is where you hear the infamous saying, do you want to be right or do you want to be free? If you want to be right, that's okay. But then you will be imprisoned in that righteousness and be stuck in a separated world of illusion and hardship, and you'll continue to suffer. We're not bypassing here. This is a process of, can you be around this person standing in conviction with who you are as the love of who you are, making sure you are feeling and breathing into everything that comes up in this person. And yeah, sometimes that means feeling it, not at their expense, but maybe in your own safe container. Okay, this person brings up just rage in me. Can you let that rage out by bringing it through your body and maybe screaming or shaking? Or one of my favorites, that scream with no sound where you're like, ah. It's one of my favorites. Got that from Mama Gina, if anyone, you know the work that she does. But a way to kind of express it through so that you're letting it come through your body. And then can you be around that person and not react, or practice presencing what that person's bringing up in you and just listening. And even if everything in you wants to react or come back at that person, just being still, staying within yourself to breathe and be with what it brings up in you. This is the only way that it will be transmuted, and the only way that the dynamics will change, because then you are no longer a victim to the person. You're standing in your power, not letting it affect you and not trying to change them. You can't, but you can change how you speak with them. You can change how you listen. You don't have to be around them. And if it's a family member where that's not the case because of the household, you can shift and change how you speak with them, how you respond. You can walk and leave the room. I mean, there are other choices. So the next time that someone is bothering you and it's taking you out of that healing space, why are you letting them take you out of that healing space? That's a choice. This is that famous saying that Jesus said, we are in this world, but not of this world. So yes, when we come into our spiritual practice and we're feeling one with everything, that's beautiful. Then we go out into the world and get triggered. That's what's supposed to happen. But when you get triggered, it's showing you what you are holding. So now that very person, that's the perpetrator, the abuser, the toxic whatever, becomes your greatest teacher. Now we can bring compassion and gratitude. One, because they're just in pain. They don't know who they are. It's like they're wearing a costume of the angry person or the toxicity. Maybe you could see them with this like brown paper bag over their head and like barking all of their pain, because that's really what it is. And then can you have compassion? They don't know who they are. They think they're this brown paper bag. They think they're this costume. But if you're the conscious one, you know that each of you are made out of the eternal light and love of the divine itself. So what if it's your responsibility to take responsibility for what is showing up in your field and see it as the divine opportunity that it is, because it is, of what you're holding within you. And when you're not holding resentment, judgment, unforgiveness, and when you can truly be the space of unconditional love, it does not matter what they say to you. It does not matter what they do. They cannot hurt or harm you. So if you're in anything other than unconditional love, you might be triggered, but how beautiful. Then you get to play this game called life and keep showing up. You'll probably fail. I know I do, but I keep practicing. And eventually, by practicing, it becomes just the norm. If you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of conditioning, do you really think that just trying once is going to shift the dynamic? So, here are the questions for you to meditate on. When you're triggered, whether it's a person, situation, you can ask. Well, first, you come into your body, breathe deep into the pelvis, into the belly, soften the shoulders, let yourself arrive with breath and presence, and ask, what place am I seeing from? What place am I operating from? So right away in this situation, what place am I seeing from? Well, I'm seeing this horrible person that's toxic in my life right away. If we're seeing something that's not love, we're seeing through the lens of the ego, the small self, the separated self. Period, the end. So that's information, right? What place am I operating from? Well, if I'm in judgment, I'm not in God's world, I'm in the world of the ego, because God's world would be just love. Not love as in being a doormat, but this is where we use it to practice. Then we ask, what's here for me to see? What's here for me to feel? Bring it back inward. Bring that focus that's on the outer, bring it on the inner. Underneath the anger may be deep hurt or wound. Maybe there was a time you abandoned yourself, tucked it away. And now the very person in front of you that's criticizing is giving you an opportunity to meet and breathe into that one underneath. What's here for me to feel? Maybe it's feeling the thing that you've been resisting. It might be anger. It might even be unforgiveness and resentment, but maybe you're not feeling it and it just needs to come up and out to free it. This is where we don't make our feelings right or wrong. We allow them as the sacred messengers that they are. We just don't dwell in them. And sometimes we may not know right away, but the question is enough. What is here for me to feel? For me to see? Another good one. What am I here to learn? And again, if you're in the heat of it and you're being triggered, you may not know what that is. But again, it's like in the midst of all of the crap, you're asking for a lifeline. You're seeking something higher. And you can just be real. Everything in me is so freaking tired of this. Show me God. Show me love. Show me Holy Spirit. Show me angels. Whatever your thing is. What am I here to learn? Show me what I need to see. Show me what I need to feel. Notice how all of these are so much more supportive than, why is this happening? Why can't this person be? Why? Like, it's so victimy and contracting. Whereas we can still feel what we need to feel, and then, all right, show me what is going to be the true healing here and how I am to meet this moment and meet myself. And then last but not least, because this is what I asked my client, I said, what do you want out of this relationship? What do you want in the midst of seeing them come at you with their toxicity? And it took her a little bit because she wasn't sure. But at the end of it, she said, I just want peace. I just want it to be peaceful between us. And here's where the title of this video comes in. The peace is within you. It's your natural state of being. When the story and the ego and the narrative don't take over. That peace, that love is for you to become it. But as I've always said, when we're calling forth peace, love, unity, grace, abundance, whatever, there isn't some fairy with a magic wand that comes down just because you said that that's what you're calling forth to grant it to you. Oh no, that would be so easy. Instead, we're given an answer from the universe showing us the very avenue that we need to take to get to the peace by putting down what we're holding that is not peace, that is the divide. This is deep work. Not everybody has the willingness to do it. But if you truly want to heal, shift, transform, and be at peace, it's to breathe into, to be and become the very thing you desire. Yeah. So what place am I seeing from, operating from? What's here for me to see and feel? What am I here in this moment through this situation to learn? Show me what I need to see and feel. Show me what it is I'm not seeing because I'm so attached to how wrong this is, right? We go into right or wrong. I get it. And what do we really want? So how do I become the peace? I breathe into everything that's not peace within me. And I don't make it wrong. I let that little one be where she is. But I breathe into what else is possible. So it's a softening and it's an allowing, and it's meeting myself there in the dark, in the lack of peace, in the lack, in the judgment, but breathing into it with curiosity and observing what else is here. What's underneath all this armor? What's really being asked of me here? If I just keep breathing and feeling and being with what's here, what if this is all really happening for me? Who would I need to be to embrace all of this, good and bad, painful and joyous, right and wrong, and still be free? And anything standing in the way of that, I let go. This is the work. That's all I got. Let your breath be the bridge. Know that underneath all that is not love is love. It's a process, it's a journey, but you're so worth it.